Thank you, Chairman Brown, and thank you, Chairman Gensler, for your testimony. America's capital markets are some of the most robust and transparent markets in the world, but not everyone has equal access to them. In Georgia, people of color account for nearly half of the total Georgia population, while only about 23% of Georgia startups are minority-owned. Women-owned businesses are also lagging, with women accounting for only 38% of business owners in the state. And according to a study by the Kauffman Foundation, Black entrepreneurs are 3 times as likely as white entrepreneurs to report that their business's profitability is negatively impacted by a lack of access to capital, and almost twice as likely to cite the cost of capital as hurting their business's profitability. Needless to say, all of us have a stake in the ability of entrepreneurs to pursue the American dream, to create jobs. Chairman Gensler, what initiatives is the SEC leading right now to increase diversity within the venture capital industry?
We have a number of tools in the toolkit, and this question came up earlier for Senator Menendez too. We had some recommendations from an investment advisory committee earlier this year, and I've asked staff to say, all right, now what can we do with regard to disclosure regimes in the investment management side? We have more clear disclosure regimes in the company side, the issuer side, than the investment management side, but there's something, it's in the weeds, Form ADV, that we're taking a look at more closely.
What tools do we have to increase diversity?
We're very much at the SEC of a disclosure-based regime, and disclosing to decision makers, investors, about those funds or the companies they invest with, and ensuring that that disclosure is what those investors want. So it's sort of like, it's got to come from investors. We stay in the chalk lines we talked about earlier, and both on the issuer side and the investment management side, what investors wish to make their decisions.
And so the role you play in providing that kind of transparency and disclosure is I understand that. Let me ask in a different way. What is the SEC doing, or in your view, what could the SEC do to help encourage investor capital funds to look outside of their traditional geographical areas for investment and opportunity in other areas of the country, and not just in big cities like Atlanta, but small cities like Augusta and Macon and Columbus? I think a lot of this happens because without intentionally doing something else, there's a way in which the way things are traditionally done has its own momentum.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. And I think it might sound like back to basics, but fundamentally, it's the middle part of our mission, making sure that the markets are efficient and competitive. And even in the private fund space, we have some projects to promote competition in that space, so that the person raising money in Georgia or elsewhere of any background, ethnic, racial background, that the cost of them raising money is lower as well. For that small business entrepreneur raising money, that it's not just a friends and family round, but they can go to a venture capitalist, as you say, and raise money efficiently.
All right. I'm going to shift to another topic. It's vitally important, and I think we all agree, that investors have confidence that financial regulators are keeping their protection top of mind so that our markets work for everyone. The pandemic has wreaked havoc on our nation and caused significant strains for every aspect of Americans' lives, including hardworking families in Georgia and throughout the country. Georgians face layoffs, small businesses permanently closing, and having constantly to worry about the health of their families and loved ones. Through all of this, criminals saw an opportunity to prey, particularly on vulnerable populations, and commit fraud, whether it is tricking folk into investing in companies falsely claiming to be producing medical equipment, or businesses using the pandemic to disguise their own fraudulent dealings. What tools and resources do you believe Congress can further provide your agency with to support in its work to fight fraud and protect retail investors?
I thank you for that question. I think two areas. One is frankly funding. We've shrunk during the prior administration by about 5%. We've grown a little bit since this new administration, but we're about 4% down in headcount, and yet retail investing is up. We've in the middle of a pandemic. We've got the challenges of doing things remotely. So it'd be good at a minimum just to get back to where we were in 2016. And I think we actually should get a little bit further than that. And in two, in some areas, and we've talked about the cryptocurrency area, is really just to help bring people into the investor protection remit, because right now there are many individuals in this country that have already been hurt, and they're unfortunately going to be more spills on aisle 3, so to speak, old grocery store term, but because this crypto area is trying to stay outside an investor protection perimeter.
Thank you so much, Chairman. We certainly want to see job growth. We want to see the economy continue to thrive. And my first question, I guess, is about equity, and the other about integrity. We need both of these things in order for the market to perform for everybody.
Thank you so much, sir.